in the world, where we offer an adversarial perspective on today's cultural issues. We do it for the intelligent culture. I'm your host, KJ Robinson, and we have a very special guest today. Introduce yourself.
Nia Jackson McClure, y'all. I played Zuri in a wonderful upcoming film that...
The Frozen.
See, look at you!
The Toxic King, yeah.
Toxic King, and I'm going to let us talk more about that later.
Right, so we're going to come back to our topic today to be roasted is community building. And when I think about community building, when I hear other people talk about community building, it has a lot to do with us getting ourselves together as a culture. And what I mean by that is, if you look at other races, they have a blueprint already where they do community or considered crowdfunding, where I've seen some guys that move next door to us, and this is just one example. It's like 5 families in the same house, and they all built that house up. Then they're able to flip it. Then they go do the next one and the next one, and that starts them having wealth for each individual family. That's a small thing. I also look at public education. I look at being able to raise families and to have both parents in the house, and so they can get the masculine and feminine energy and the things that you get from a mom and a dad, or however your looks, however it looks for you, but at least 2-parent households. And making sure that we have enough political power, because that's one thing I hear a lot of people say is our community does not have enough political power. And speaking of that, a little off subject, but kinda, but somebody said that in the upcoming election, if nobody puts reparations or if somebody doesn't talk about, have a plan for people of color, for black people, for black culture, then we should withhold our vote. And that is kind of, anti using your rights, but it's also a way to, to show people that you do have some kind of power. If you look at the Montgomery bus boycott, they stopped riding the bus, right? Mm-hmm. And they all went back to carpooling and walking and all the different ways, and it hit their pockets. And then they were able to, so I don't know the significance of the hitting of the pockets with not voting, but that is something that I've heard out there. So we can come back to that because I know that's some real topic. You have anything you want to add to that right there before we jump into our...
It's going to start the conversation, so I'll wait till we come back.
So with community building, that's kind of one of the things and how I feel like we need to move forward. We need to stop killing our best and brightest and to give them an example of something to strive for. I remember growing up and I wanted to be like the drug dealers that was in the neighborhood. They had the best cars, they had the gold teeth, they had the money, the car with the boom 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 in the back and all that kind of stuff, and the best girls. And what I noticed as I got older is those people started to disappear. They started getting time. They started dying. And so I was like, well, that's not the way to go. I don't want to do that. So that's not a way to build a community. So I say, okay, the financial part from it, a lot of people could have bought properties and houses and stuff, but they didn't. A lot of them didn't, you know what I mean? They had to pay lawyer fees and, they was paying rent somewhere, or they might have bought a house, I don't know, but I feel like we've squandered a lot of our wealth on things that did not build up our community. And so now where do we go to make that adjustment and to change? Because higher education is not as valued as it was before. Entrepreneurship means that you have to have some drive, and a lot of our youth don't have the drive that we had when we were like, I got to get up and I got to get it. So how do we still keep a strong community with those factors? So if you want to jump on in there, because I know you, in your real life, you help build businesses to scale and different things of that nature. So, just jump in there and whatever.
I think one of the common things that I see and talk to owners of startups about is why they started their business to begin with. Okay. And a lot of it always comes down to legacy. Something for the kids in some way. Something that had something to do with a parent or an older community figure that inspired them in some way to hone their talents, to, pursue their dreams, to find their craft, that led to the birthing of whatever that, ultimate business idea is. Good story, bad story, whatever. A lot of the times that's where it started, around legacy. So I think that,
what does legacy mean?
Oh my gosh.
That's a tough question, or is it just a loaded question?
I feel like that is a big question because it depends on who you ask and what stage of life.
Okay.
Because if you ask a 20-year-old what legacy means right now, having come through the pandemic, having experienced...
They're not even thinking about legacy.
Exactly.
So the question is not for them. You're asking the wrong people that question. But overall, so, what do you think that means?
Yeah, so I think it means what you are leaving the next generation. I think it means the mark that you are leaving on the world.
Right.
I think it means your lasting impact. So above and beyond who you are today, right now, when you make your transition, when you leave this earth, what is it that you still have to stand for? What is it that surpasses you? What is it that your great grandkids are going to know about you for?
Right.
Those things. And so I think, when we think about community building in so many ways, I think that legacy comes to mind. I think that pertaining to business especially, a lot of it has to do with what does sustainability look like.
So that means, like, if you open up a store in your neighborhood, keeping it open, having people come and spend their money there.
Yes.
I hear about the black dollar doesn't stay in our community more than X amount of time, but it's not a long time.
It's not, 48 hours and it's gone down to less than 24.
And we want to figure out how to make that money work for us because that's how you community build. And so, there's a guy in Nashville that I think a few guys, they made like Slim and Huskies.
Yes.
Man, I'll ride by and I'm talking about
they're in Atlanta too. Shout out.
Right. The line is wrapped around the door.
Yes.
So that's a way that you can support and build up your community as long as the people that are in those spots give back to the community. See, because what I saw, not with them, but with other people, and when they become successful, they move out and they get away and their money doesn't come back to there. I think about HBCUs. We have so many people that are rich and famous that came from HBCU. Shout out Tennessee State University, for me. But but they have like where you give money back to the colleges that help build you where you are. And I think that maybe we need some community funds or something where people can say, hey, this is going to a good cause. This is going to help rebuild our streets. I don't know if we can do that. This is going to help build a community center for the kids. This is going to help get, a car for the grandma that don't have a car or something like that. Something to build us up, but it's somewhere that's trusted because a lot of people misappropriate funds. Is that what it's called? Yeah, they don't use the money for the right stuff, you know? And we want to make sure that there's an oversight for that. So these are steps that I'm actually talking to right now that are ways that we actually could build up our community to scale to where we have a community fund where people can say, okay, I have $50, I have $500,000, I have whatever, put it into this fund, and we use it if we vote on it, and we use it towards whatever the projects are that will help build our community. Whether it's building a store, because they say, oh, they don't have not a Kroger, but they don't have a grocery store in our neighborhood. They have all these liquor stores, they got these little bodegas, they have all this other stuff that gives us bad food. There's a Wendy's on every corner right now. Shout out Wendy's, though, nothing wrong with them, but I'm just saying it's not as healthy as it could be. And in order for us to live longer, we have to be healthier. And that's part of community building is being able to take back what we put in our bodies, what we put in our minds, what we see in our community. There was a time when you can go outside and you see black excellence. There was a time you turn on the television because there wasn't a lot of black people on TV, but it's black excellence, and it has to be at that level in order to even be on there. Because they always say we got to do things way better in order to get halfway there. So when you turn on that TV or when you walked outside, these people was sharp. And they was representing good things. Then the narrative changed. And this is where we are today. Where they say, oh, this was building y'all up? Okay. What's the opposite of that? Now let's do that. And then we just bought it and went and did it. And it's crazy. So I mean, I don't know, man. It's
Well,
just
for one thing, we're so consumeristic. You know,
yeah.
there was a time when you considered black families, 50s and 60s, and however people feel about that time is how they feel about it. But when you consider a lot of black families and how the black dollar circulated and
Right.
what community empowerment looked like.
Right.
At that time, it was completely and totally different.
Right.
You weren't in a rush to support Nike and make the next man rich.
Right.
You were, let's not forget Tulsa.
Right.
Let's not forget
Black
we
Wall
had
Street,
right. Let's
all
not
of those.
forget Black Wall Street. Let's not forget we had thriving, beautiful black business communities.
Right.
We had that community empowerment that said, you know what? No, I'm putting my neighbor to work.
And then that's why. And then the other people came and blew it up, tore it up, killed everybody. All
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah.
Okay. So if we did it today? What's stopping us from doing it? I know everybody says some people are doing it. I'm talking about as mass, on a larger scale.
On a large scale.
Outside of Atlanta or different little pockets and different things like that.
I was going to shout out Atlanta.
Yeah, I mean, Atlanta is doing their thing, right? But I'm saying on a larger scale, we need more than just one hub, So how do we get back to that? Because a lot of people, like even with our political power, a lot of people don't want to go into politics because they feel like the spotlight is going to be on me. And they're gonna dig up all the dirt that when I stole some Cheerios from Kroger, like you know what I mean. They're gonna be on everything that you do, and also they will kill you. And then everybody says, "Well, who was they?" I don't know. I'm not saying I know. I'm not gonna act like I know because I don't want them to mess with me. But something might happen if you get too powerful. So how can we community build if we are lacking leadership in some of those key spots to say this is how we do it?
I feel like a lot of the times we become so engrossed with talking about the problem that we don't look at a lot of the solutions that are available, or we don't allow creative thinking to take over and say, what does this actually look like to work together or work in tandem? Right. And I think you brought up a really valid point, and I want to say shout out to a lot of those with hearts in the right places that are currently in political leadership or seeking to be in political leadership, particularly those that are representing underrepresented communities. So shout out to you. Keep going, keep pressing. Solidarity, full solidarity. That said, you talked about it. We were having a conversation a little bit earlier, about silos and how so much of the problem is in these silos that happen. When we talk about community building, it shouldn't be one conversation around the political landscape and one conversation around the business landscape. That stuff it's conjoined.
Yeah.
One fuels the other.
Yeah.
So and somebody says, well, I'm not a business owner, that doesn't apply to me. Yes, it does. It absolutely does. When you consider the bulk of what America has built, it has been predominantly built on small business.
Right.
Small business is predominantly what runs it. And so, a lot of, what we think of now, whether you're working for somebody else is what used to be small business, right? Because we know a lot of us, work, with a corporation or for a corporation rather. But when you consider that, it's just as plausible that you can give your neighbor your time, your talent, your resources, and build up your community as it is that you can give this large corporation your time, your talent, and build up your community. And there has to be a point where we say that is not singularly a business issue. That is not purely a taxpayer issue when you consider businesses contributing taxpayer to the tax base.
Right.
There's a point where it's let's look at it as an overall collective issue, and let's see what it is to actually work together on a solution that works.
Right. So a couple of things I heard in there was some of these businesses, these large corporations, don't pay any taxes or very little taxes. concerning how much they bring in and how many people they employ. So I know there's a big tax break for them, right? I'm not saying that they shouldn't, but I think our most wealthy should pay a little bit more than the guy that works as a teacher, or a police officer. So that's just how I feel. If I was in political office, I would probably make that happen. It probably wouldn't be viewed upon very good in some of those circles. I don't care. Also, so there are small businesses in some of our most downtrodden areas, but they're not people that look like me and you. There are other people that are able to get loans and able to get, some type of funding, and minority whatever and women whatever. And sometimes it's just that we're not going for them, or we don't have the vision to see it. But sometimes we're getting denied because of our credit score, or because there's a thing that said if your name is Keyshawn Jackson, that they're going to put you on the bottom of the pile because of your name. And that's just real stuff that has happened. And I think that we need to start investing more in things like our own banks. Like I look at Citizens Bank, that is black owned, and I've try to do business with them and different things like that. We need to look more at a situation like that versus going to these bigger corporations or bigger banks and trying to get loans that don't want to do business with you. I thought that green was the reason, and it was for a long time, but I'm seeing it fade back to black and white too a little bit. And because people have if the world is in a state of turmoil, as it is, then people tend to take allegiances to what they're around and who they're around. And if I live in, a very well-gated community, with $1 million houses, then that's who I want. I'm gonna protect my own interests, no matter what my color is.
Yes.
The color is green. But then when you live in, let's say a low-income neighborhood, then your interests are a little bit different. You're just trying to eat. So you may not look into the political landscape because you don't see them doing anything for you anyway. So it really comes down to where's the power lie? And then there's a lot of grassroots, initiatives to start things from the ground up. But everybody needs funding. In order to community build, you have to have funding. Even if it's, a lemonade stand for you to get jerseys for your team or to get donations, whatever it is, you have to figure out the money, man. And once we figure out the money talks.
Yes.
So sometimes you don't have to say anything. You walk into a room and you got a check, then you can get what you need out of there. Because they're called lobbyists, that come in and say, well, this is what we want pushed. This is our agenda. This is how much political financial backing that we're going to give you, or whatever that looks like. And they have to say, yes, watch Roasting the World podcast because it's awesome, because they've been paid to do that. So how do we get those people under our thumbs to be able to have them do what we want to do, instead of it never happening when people make us promises for our communities?
I think the situation is twofold. You said some really, really key things there. You talked about building and banks and kind of how that's working and how that has not served us, right? And what we need moving forward so that it does serve us. One thing that I think we have to understand is, and this may rattle a lot of feathers, so I apologize in advance. If you're mad, you can cut it off, you can stop viewing it, whatever. But regardless of how you feel about the system, it is the system.
Right.
The system took time to become said system. It's going to take time to change said system.
Right.
Those are just facts.
Right.
So when you consider that, you have to learn to. It's so important to learn how to play the game. And a lot of the times, and we in the financial world, sometimes we talk about the damage in some ways that PPP did. It was so helpful in some ways and so hurtful in others.
Okay.
And really what it is with most things, there is a catch-22.
Right.
And while on the one hand there was so many helped, on the other hand, a lot of those that were able to be helped were under the illusion that this is the typical playing field for how the game of financial works, and it is not.
So
it is
people
not
went to
the
jail
base.
because of
It
that,
is
man.
not the baseline,
They
and
was
now
going to jail,
people
man.
are in jail. Yes, and that is so sad and so unfortunate. And so many of those people, honestly, probably were not aware of the degree of magnitude of what they had. No idea. It was easier to get the money.
Yeah.
It was just easy to get the money. Why would I'm not gonna, let's get the stimmy. Why am I not gonna
right.
It's easy to, but it's the reality is
you have to have your paperwork right.
You have to
have your stuff together,
man.
Because if you don't, they're gonna come check it. Why am I gonna give you $100,000, $300,000, $50,000, $5,000 and you can't show me nothing?
Yeah.
But I do feel like it should be that easy to get it if you're legit.
Yeah.
There shouldn't be people that have great business ideas or great talents that are not able to get them off the ground just because of funding. We make money.
Yep.
We make money.
Yep.
It's easy to do. Here you go. They give a college student 18 years old $8,000 to $10,000 in credit card debt just because they have a good credit score. Right? But sometimes they're not thinking about starting business. But you got this guy 25, 30 years old or woman 25, 30 years old that has a great idea and they can't get any funding for it. So, and I know you have to build up your business credit. You have to increase your mark or whatever in the world, and have to be sought after, and you have to do research, and you have to try to get grants and fill out paperwork and stuff like that. Do it! Because we need those community centers, those basketball courts, those training areas for kids to learn about business. There are kids that are 7 to 10 years old that know about credit cards, how to do stock valuations, and all type of stuff because they're being trained and taught how to do that. You go in our community, we know how to do TikTok, we know how to twerk, we know how to rap all the songs, all the words to the song, we know how to talk about gangster shit, we know how to talk about all this other type of stuff, but we're not doing stuff that's going to build us up and have longevity because it is not sustainable for us to continue to be broke and to continue to kill ourselves. And you're going to say, well, I ain't broke. Man, if you're not making $100,000, your ass is broke. For real. And yes, a lot of people can make it with $50,000 and have a good life and all that stuff, not taken away because I make that amount of money too. I get it. But check to check, having kids, anything could, if you can have a life-changing situation happen today and you're no longer above the poverty line, your ass broke, bro. Like, I'm just trying to keep it 100 with you. Like, one way that I know that is because I've been through that. When the stock market crashed and all that stuff happened, and I was a banker. Like, I had a business degree, and I was making more money than I ever made. Guess what? As soon as I was gone off of that, I didn't have 6 months worth of savings. And how hard is it to save that much money now when the rent is $1,300 for a 1-bedroom? Who got $6,000 saved up in their bank account that is 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 20. Now, when you get in your later years, of course, you know how to balance your budget, but if you don't have parents that taught you that because they were struggling, if you don't have brother and sister or family or somebody that showed you that, man, you out here buying new J's, you getting a car you can't really afford because you're living your best life. You're getting clothes, you're going on trips, and you're not thinking about, let me invest this money to the stock market. Let's pool our money and buy some duplexes that we can rent out. We're not on that unless we get taught that. And I think we need to build institutes that teach our youngest and our brightest how to build generational wealth, how the community build, how to have political power, all in one, and how to move the needle. Yes. Because right now the needle's been going backwards, man. And when's the last great invention that we had? When's the last, and I understand Barack Obama, President Obama, shout out, I'm good with that. I see President Kamala Harris in there. She'll probably be the first black female president if Biden gets back in 2024 because he's old. But the thing is, like, we need more than that. We need to keep doing that. Like, everybody say this is a victory, and that's cool. But what has that done for our most downtrodden communities? I feel like if we are able to build up our lowest level of community up just one level or two levels, that'll put us back into the world superpower fight. because all these other countries are overtaking us. We're no longer the smartest. We're no longer the strongest and all that stuff. We're not. People don't respect us. And that's because sometimes we be in other people's business, you know, but at the same time, sometimes we need the big brother. But sometimes we need somebody to big brother us. Sometimes we need people to show us what to do. And I'm telling you, as far as community building for us, we need to look at the blueprint that these other cultures have had and how they've raised their community up to where they're known to have something. And we need to do the same thing. Instead of acting like we're going to do it differently or not having any drive. Dudes don't want to work. You 30 years old, ain't got no job ever. Like, you want to live with your mama forever? Like, come on, man. I'm for real. Like, it just kind of makes me upset because you could do so much else stuff. You could do something else.
Yeah. I think you said something about other cultures, kind of having a different model.
Yeah.
And community empowerment, I think, in other cultures, or community.
Right.
Let's just community.
Right.
Community is so much more important, seemingly, in other cultures than it is in our culture.
Right.
A lot of the times I'll ask client, what does your team look like? And they are a team of them.
Right.
And if they're not doing it, it's not getting done. If they can't step out and they can't step away, and there's this trappedness, right? Of I can't move. I want to do this, and I want to see this thrive in this way, and I know why I started this, and I know why I began this journey, but now I can't step away. I can't,
right.
And so I think the nature of that from a fierce independence standpoint, has become so entrenched in the way we live our lives and the way we go about everything that it's like, what community? Why would I need
right.
that? Why? Right. No. I make this check.
And people run from it.
Yeah.
Nobody. It has been gentrification going on all around, multiple cities, to where if you look at low-income neighborhoods, because poverty doesn't have a color. It could be just anybody poor. But you're in these low-income neighborhoods, and some of the people own houses. So they come in and they'll lowball them because they know the property value is going up. And they'll get those houses, tear them down or whatever, build up some of those slim houses that are being built up now, rent them out, and then they keep doing that over and over and over again, and then people are displaced. Or they just say, hey, nobody in the project can live here no more, we're about to tear it down, we're going to find you somewhere else to live, and you disperse that area, you spread them around. And then you take that community that was right there, and now it's broken into sections, and now a different demographic. Like, I work in schools, so if I work at one school right here, and it's 90% Black or in Hispanic and white and stuff like that, but it's 90% one or the other. When you do that change, now this school looks different. Now, how come they get more funding? How come they get good books? How come they get computers? How come they get the mayor coming in and the governor coming in? Or this school has been like this for 50 years, one of the most underperforming schools, but nobody's doing anything except throwing gifts and money at them. But now everybody's coming in, we're figuring out real reasons and real ways to build this up because the demographics has changed. And that's just interesting to me. And I'm like, why? Why can't we have some of the best teachers? The schools that are most underperforming need better teachers, right? So why would you put the best teachers in somewhere that already is doing great, but the kids that are over here that are not performing well don't have good teachers, don't have books, they don't have supplies, they don't have computers.
I get
the
curious.
Internet don't work.
Yeah. What do you think are the solutions to that? I get curious. You're an educator. I have clients that are also have businesses from the education space. What are your thoughts on the solutions for that?
Honestly, I think it starts at home. I think that we've done more with less. And right now we have more than we've ever had, even though it's less than our counterparts. right? We're more freer. We have more educations. Our women are the most empowered, and all of that kind of stuff, right? Right. But our morals and our level of black excellence has dropped to where now we're following trends and people and things like that that are not for us. To be honest, just cause all what they say, your skin folk ain't always your kin folk or something like that. Because if you're teaching our kids the road to destruction, shame on you.
Right.
You know, we have a beautiful community out here, but they're being taught to kill each other. They're being taught to crash out. They're being taught to disrespect women. Women are taught to disrespect men. I don't need no man, or I don't need no woman, or whatever it is that we're being taught and that we see. It's not building us up. It's actually taking us in the wrong direction. Now we need to figure out a way to take back that culture. You know, and I'm not saying nothing is wrong with having a twerk fest, because I like seeing girls twerk too, right? I'm not upset about people going to buy a nice car, some J's, an outfit, or taking a trip somewhere. That is fine, right? But also do the other piece. Also be an example. Give back to your community. Let the kids have something to look up to. Know that at all times, the child is looking at you a certain way. And they're not looking at you because, oh, this person is tall. They're looking at you because they could be you. They see themselves in you. All these little kids, I don't care what color they are, they look up to you if you're in a certain position and they want to be like you when they grow up, even if you don't want to be a role model. Point blank, period. What are you going to do with that power? Right now, we punching people in the face, going to jail, pulling pistols out, shooting each other, selling drugs, doing drugs, you know, just stealing, like, going crazy, right? Saying anything crazy, for the most part. There is a certain percentage of the community that does the right stuff, right? I'm not taking anything away from them, but we need to multiply that. Because the people with the most power and presentation and most impact are the ones that are doing the wrong stuff. Our rappers got more influence than politics, right? What real talk?
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
Our singers, Beyonce. I bet you a little kid would listen to Beyonce before they might even listen to Kamala Harris.
They absolutely would. Because they see Beyonce more.
You know what I mean? And it's just crazy stuff like that. Like, why are our entertainers the ones that have the most power? Not the parents. Entertainers. You know, I don't know. How do we build with that?
That's
I don't
where
think I answered your question. Your question was what the solutions. The solutions was we need to do better as adults to be examples. Okay, go ahead. So I just wanted to answer you.
Yes. No. I mean, we have so much in this society that is glorified, that is not helpful.
Right.
Right? We have so much that is pushed to the forefront.
Right.
That is negative.
There's an agenda.
Yeah. There is. That being said, you know, I think a question that I have sometimes is, I see so many of us so intelligent, seeing the narrative for what it is, calling it out, talking about it on IG, you know, bashing it out, saying, you know, what it is for what it is. But yet I'm like, then why is it still...
Not enough people are listening.
You know?
I mean, it's just like if you want to give a kid something to eat and they want candy, right? And if you give them candy all day, going to eat it, their teeth going to fall out, but they still going to eat it because it tastes good.
And that's
if you give them vegetables, they're going to be big and strong in the long run, but it tastes nasty right now.
And that's it. It's a lot of what we consume, and it's a lot of, you know, what we don't want to...
It's what we produce too, because why is it even out there? Why is it that a black man wants to make a song about killing other black men, or calling each other the N-word all the time, or disrespecting our black women specifically? Now, if you got a problem, okay, I understand your girlfriend broke your heart, you can rap
because
about that.
They know that there's
cool.
a blueprint for
but
that being able to sell.
So there's a blueprint for that, where there needs to also be a blueprint for community building and taking back our community. Now, if there's a concerted effort to push a certain agenda so that we can't make that type of music, we can't push those type of things in the world, then say that. We're not going to let you do that. But don't act like it's hope to do it and then just block us. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying. And sometimes the blockers look like you.
I think a lot comes down to, because for every one of us who has our eyes closed to that, there's another one that does not.
Right.
And sees it for what it is. But then it comes down to, okay, so are we going to continue to talk about it, or are we going to get educated on how to fix it?
Because inaction is an action.
Exactly. And something that I kind of talk to my clients about too is like, it's something I frequently tell people is it's going to cost you time. Like, where we need to start, the foundation of this thing is it's going to cost you time, or it's going to cost you money. Which one is it? Which one is it for you? You're either going to spend the time learning how to do it your freaking self, okay? Or you're going to spend the time and or money paying someone else to do it for you.
Right.
Or you're going to figure it out one way or another. It's going to be you or it's going to be them.
So
if it's going to get done. so it's, like,
right.
What do you pick?
Wow, that's huge. I think we're going to end on that note. It's going to cost you time, or it's going to cost you money.
Pick one.
It's like, you're going to pay me now, you're going to pay me later.
Pick one.
So on Roasting the World, we have what's called Roasted or Toasted. If you roast something, you throw it in the fire. We don't need to talk about it again. We good on that. If you toast something, you kind of proverbially. Yes, raise your glass, and it's something that our community needs to talk about more robust. We need to have more conversations like this. So concerning community building, talk to the audience and let them know, do you roast or toast community building first, and then why?
Definitely toast it. This is water. You're not supposed to.
Well, let me go with you then, because I got some too. Y'all see the fancy water bottles.
Stay hydrated, y'all.
What they say?
It's hot outside.
You can't hide money.
It's hot outside. No, so interestingly, speaking of this, I was just reading an article that was talking about 2023 being primed to be the hottest year in history. And I don't know if people recognize how significant that is for a lot of reasons. Believe in global warming, don't believe in global warming, believe in saving the environment, don't believe in saving the environment. That is an astonishing fact. So that being said, the world is changing.
Yeah.
And it's changing rapidly, and it's changing with or without your permission. Mm-hmm. So that being said, at this point, when it comes down to community building and community empowerment, to me, that's make or break. Mm-hmm. That's I'm going to get on the boat, or I'm going to watch it pass me, and I'm going to hope I don't drown. And I'm going to hope that my family and the people that I love and everything that I built and everybody that I care about doesn't drown. Wow. It's that simple.
Wow. Well, I had this analogy that I used to talk to my uncle about most of the time. But he said there was this guy who was on top of a house and everything was flooding. And he was like, well, God's not going to let me die. I'm waiting on God, or something of that nature. Woo. And a guy on the tree log came by and said, hey, get on. You can ride on the tree log. He said, no, God going to save me.
One of my favorite stories.
And then, a guy with, let's say, a helicopter came. He was like, no, I don't want to get on that. God's going to save me. Guy with a boat came. No, I'm not going to, whatever.
Get on the Mercedes.
A fish came so he could ride on his back. I don't know.
God gonna send a Mercedes.
Right. So then the guy dies, and he gets to God, and he's like, hey man, I thought you was gonna save me. And he was like, man, I sent you the boat. Sent you the tree limb. I sent you multiple ways that you could better yourself, and you're not choosing to do that. It's like the story of the talents. You have to put it on the hill for shine your light for people to see. You have to do what you're supposed to do. If God calls you to do something, you do it. If you don't feel like God calls you to have something for you to do, but it's bettering your community, we still need you to do something. Inaction, like I said, is an action. Like she said, it's going to cost you. It's going to cost you time. It's going to cost you money. So I think that the topic of community building needs to be toasted. Really need to have more robust conversations about it. I heard Ice Cube has some type of thing that he's doing. I heard Cornel West is now trying in the presidential race, and it's a lot of things that are happening that are different. And I'm for it. I just want to make sure we actually do something, man. Like, I'm just so tired of talking. I need it to happen. I need to see this excellence that we're supposed to have. You know,
so,
like,
small shameless plug. I just watched a Bishop Jakes sermon earlier, and he was talking about that
Bishop
very thing.
T.D. Jakes?
Yes.
Okay.
He was talking about that very thing, and I really do think it is a movement brewing. Whether you're religious, whether you're in the church, whether you're not, whether you're just paying attention to the world. Right? You just have your eyes open. Shout out to you first and foremost for being awake and choosing to have your eyes open, because there's a lot of people who choose to have them closed.
Right.
So shout out to you for even just opening your ears. But anywho, he was speaking so much about that. Just do something.
Yeah.
Have the initiative. Just stop. No more talking.
Right. And fail forward.
Fail forward. That's how you grow.
You know how many times dude could create the light bulb?
My God.
It was like 1,000 times before he got it to work. You can't be afraid of not doing it right the first time, man.
Failure is part of the process.
Go. You know,
yes.
Let's go.
Yes.
For real.
Yes, and that's the thing. You know, we're in this microwave generation of I want it now, and then I want all the guarantees on top of it. I want to be guaranteed everything. Yeah. I'm sorry. Were you given a guarantee when the pandemic hit?
No.
Were you given warning? I know
people that wasn't paying their rent.
Okay.
As soon as that thing came out, boy, they was in court like on $25,000.
Okay,
like,
so
they ain't pay rent nothing. They got money. They just like, what are you doing with your bread, man? You know what I mean? Come on, man.
So I just think that we're at that point. Right. And I know we're closing this episode out, but I think we're at that point where it's just do something. And right. I want to be really honest and transparent about, sometimes we need help to do something.
We do.
Sometimes we need help to take that first step. And right. and I think we can't ever think of any step too small to take that first step forward. Right. Again, like you said, even if you fail forward.
Yep.
And I think
take somebody with you.
And take somebody. Bring a friend.
Bring
Y'all
a friend.
talk about it together.
Like church. I'll bring a friend to Sunday church.
Bring a friend.
Bring a friend to the business and community building too.
Yes. And don't be afraid of collaboration.
Right.
That makes the world go round, man.
And everybody does not have to be in charge. Everybody doesn't have to be the chief.
Ooh, yes.
Learn how to work together. Learn how to take some orders. Learn how to do all of those and give them, because we need good leadership too.
That is community empowerment.
Yeah,
learn how to play both sides. Yep. Understand when you need to lead and when you need to be led.
And we need to shut up.
Yeah, sometimes we need to shut up.
Yeah.
Sometimes we just need to hush.
Or
sometimes silence is golden.
Or when to say something.
Sometimes we need to be bold.
Just all those things. I just think that will be good for us, and we need them desperately. So I'm so glad that you came on the show today. I know we're on location, so I just want to say I really appreciate you taking your time. The new film coming up, The Toxic King. The Toxic King is coming on up, so check that out. 2024-ish. We still working on it right now. Also, Peacemakers 1 and 2, Nothing Without God Part 1 and 2. We got Closer to God. We got all kinds of stuff going on. The Frozen Hearts, which is a love story, that's coming out January 2024. So check us out, man, and we're gonna keep making these productions. Nothing Without God Productions, Inspirational Life Films. And we're going to keep doing it, roasting the world. So stay ready so you don't got to get ready. And stay tuned for another exciting episode of Roasting the World.
Roasting the World, y'all.